Welcome to this deep dive all about critical thinking. We've got a really interesting collection of psychology texts and guides here, and we're so excited to kind of dig through them and find those nuggets of wisdom for you.
Yeah, it's really cool to explore, how we think, especially since
Right.
critical thinking, it's a term that a lot of people misunderstand.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was actually surprised reading through these sources that it's way more than just being critical. Like it's really about how do you use information intentionally to solve those problems that are always coming up, make decisions, and I think maybe even grow as a person.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's really about asking why and how and not being afraid to kind of challenge those assumptions that we all make, sometimes even our own assumptions, right? One of these sources described it as like being a mental detective, constantly gathering evidence and piecing those puzzles together.
Oh, I love that. That's such a cool analogy. It reminds me of Sherlock Holmes, observing everything and finding those connections between like seemingly meaningless details to solve a case. So
Exactly.
how does that translate to our everyday lives? How do we become those mental detectives in like the real world?
Well, have you ever seen an offer or been tempted by an offer that just seemed too good to be true?
Oh, all the time,
Hmm.
especially online. Those ads promising to make me a millionaire overnight.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Critical thinking gives you those tools to actually evaluate those claims and see through those potential scams, protect yourself from manipulation. One source even talked about, have you ever heard of George C. Parker? This guy who actually sold the Brooklyn Bridge like over and over again to people. Can you imagine falling for that today?
Oh, that's wild. People believe some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like critical thinking is our mental armor in a world where there's just so much information and some of it's reliable and some of it's not.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the benefits. They go way beyond just avoiding scams, right? I mean, it can help us make better financial decisions, navigate that crazy amount of information that's online these days, and even communicate better.
Oh, I can see that. Like if I can analyze my own biases and the biases of other people, maybe I can have more meaningful and productive conversations
Right.
instead of just talking past each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really about moving past those initial reactions and kind of getting to the core of what matters. The sources also highlighted how crucial this is, like both in academic and professional settings, whether you're a student or whether you've been working for years.
I can definitely see that from like research projects to just problem solving in the workplace.
Yeah.
Critical thinking is going to give you an edge. So let's get practical. How do we actually improve these skills? Do we need to like go back to school and take a bunch of classes? What do we do?
You know what? You don't have to do that. A lot of the sources that we looked at suggested really simple but really powerful things you can do every day. For example, just pausing before you react to something, you know, instead of letting emotions kind of dictate your response, right?
Oh, tell me about it. I've sent so many emails in the heat of the moment that I've regretted later.
Yeah.
I definitely could have used that pause button,
Yeah,
you know?
it's something that we can all benefit from. And another really powerful thing to do is just mindful reading. Like really absorbing what you're reading and thinking about how it connects to the bigger picture. And then there was this really interesting idea in one of the guides, talking to yourself.
Okay, talking to myself.
Yeah.
I don't need to start wearing a tinfoil hat, do I?
No, tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
It's more about being more aware of kind of your thought process, you know, why you agree or disagree with something. Where do those opinions come from? Have you always felt this way, or is it something that, you've changed your mind about over the years?
So it's about being like an observer of your own thoughts, almost like keeping a journal of what's happening in your mind so you can track those patterns and challenge those assumptions that you might be making.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this really cool exercise in one of the guides called the Alien Tourist that can really help with this.
Alien tourist. Okay, that sounds kind of fun. I want to hear more about this.
So imagine you're explaining like your favorite hobby, something you're really passionate about, and you're explaining it to an alien visitor who has absolutely no idea what you're talking about, no frame of reference for it. They don't understand our customs, our rules, our basic concepts, nothing.
It's like explaining the internet to someone who's never seen a computer.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, how would you explain that? When you try to explain those kinds of things, it forces you to break down those complex ideas into simpler terms, to really examine those assumptions that you're making, and then articulate your reasoning clearly.
I could see how that would be super insightful. It's like stepping outside of your own little bubble and seeing the world with fresh eyes. So we've talked about the why of critical thinking. Now let's talk about the how. What are the techniques and strategies that we can use to actually put this into practice?
Well, one of the most common approaches that came up over and over again was brainstorming, right? And that's about generating a wide range of ideas to solve a problem, focusing on quantity first, then going back and evaluating the quality and feasibility of those ideas.
I like that. Sometimes I get so stuck on finding the perfect solution that I don't even explore other possibilities. It's like I need permission to just throw those ideas out there and see what sticks.
And that's exactly the point of brainstorming. It's about freeing yourself from that self-censorship and just letting those ideas flow. And then another strategy that's really valuable is like a step-by-step approach to solving problems. So you systematically identify, you analyze, and then you address the problem.
Okay, so that's a more kind of structured approach, right? Did they give any specific examples of how that works?
Yeah. One of the guides laid out this really helpful process. It starts with clearly defining the problem. Then you analyze it from different angles, asking yourself questions like, is this even solvable? Or do I need help to solve it?
Yeah, I like that. It's about looking at the problem from different sides and different angles. Maybe that can help avoid those tunnel vision moments where you just get stuck.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you gather information, you explore potential solutions, and brainstorming can come in handy there. And then you actually evaluate those solutions, weigh the pros and cons.
So it's about having a deliberate process, not just reacting on impulse. So what comes next?
Well, once you've evaluated those options, you choose the best course of action and you put that plan into practice, you try it out.
Yeah, and be open to, adapting your approach if it's not working. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Adaptability is super important. Now, one of the things that I found in one of the sources was this framework called Bloom's taxonomy. Does that ring a bell at all?
Bloom's taxonomy. Ooh, vaguely. It rings a bell, but I definitely need a refresher.
Yeah, so this hierarchical model, right? And it categorizes those different levels of thinking. So from basic knowledge recall, remembering those facts, to more complex skills, things like analysis, evaluation, creating something new.
So how does that connect to critical thinking?
Well, critical thinking goes beyond just memorization, right? It's about actually engaging with the information that you have, analyzing how valid it is, and then using that information to develop new ideas and solutions. And Bloom's taxonomy provides that framework, that structure for understanding those different levels of engagement.
So it's like climbing a ladder of thinking. We move from simply knowing stuff to actually using that knowledge in creative and meaningful ways.
Yeah, exactly. And the sources really encourage you, the listener, to think about, your own experiences in school, in your job. Like, how can you apply those different levels of thinking to the tasks that you face every day and the challenges that come up?
That's a great question to consider. Now, one of these textbooks actually goes into, how psychology students are actually trained to think critically about research and theories and, human behavior.
It's really fascinating. Instead of just memorizing facts, these students are taught to analyze case studies, evaluate how research is designed, and even formulate their own theories based on the evidence.
Wow. That sounds pretty intense, but also really rewarding. It's like a whole different way of approaching learning.
Yeah, it is. And it's really about going beyond that surface level and really digging into the nuances of human behavior,
Sure.
Like, how do we actually think and why do we think that way?
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but let's be honest. There are times when critical thinking is hard. What are some of the things that can trip us up, that can make it difficult to think clearly and objectively?
You're absolutely right. It's not always easy. And a lot of the sources pointed to, the fear of failure and the fear of rejection. Those are two big ones, right? And these emotions can actually prevent us from, questioning assumptions or exploring new ideas.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
The fear of being wrong can be, paralyzing sometimes. It's easier to just stick with what feels safe, even if it's not the best approach.
It's a really common thing. And another thing is just a lack of direction. The sources emphasized how important it is to set clear goals for yourself if you want to develop these skills. If you don't have a plan, it's really easy to get lost or to get discouraged, right?
Yeah, it's like trying to reach a destination without a map or a GPS. You might eventually get there, but it's going to be a lot more frustrating and take a lot longer.
And then there's that thing that we all do, rationalization, where we kind of explain away our actions without really analyzing, honestly, what our motivations were.
Oh, I am so guilty of that. It's way easier to make excuses than to actually confront the truth about why we did or didn't do something.
It's human nature, but it's something to be aware of because those rationalizations can really hold us back. Now, the sources also spend a lot of time talking about what makes a critical thinker, what sets them apart. Do you want to dive into that?
Absolutely. Like, what are the secret ingredients, the magic traits that make someone a critical thinker?
Well, one of the big ones is just intellectual curiosity. They're just naturally curious. They want to learn. They want to know new things. And they're open-minded. They're willing to consider different points of view, even if those viewpoints challenge their own beliefs.
That is so important, especially these days where it's easy to just stay in your own little bubble and only hear what you already agree with.
You're right, yeah. And another key trait is that willingness to challenge assumptions, their own and other people's assumptions. They don't just accept things at face value. They want to know, why is this true? What's the evidence? They dig deeper.
They're like those little kids who keep asking, but why? Until you finally just give up. It can be annoying sometimes, but it's also incredibly valuable. What else?
Maybe the most important thing is that they're able to recognize those common thinking errors, those fallacies that we all fall into sometimes.
Okay, fallacies. Those are the mental traps that can really lead us down the wrong path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us some examples of those thinking errors and how to avoid them?
Yeah. So one of the sources talked about the ad hominem fallacy, which is all over the place.
Oh, I think I know that one. It's when you attack the person making the argument instead of actually addressing the argument itself.
You got it. Yeah. It's a way to, deflect and dismiss someone's ideas without actually engaging with them.
It happens all the time online, right? People just resort to personal insults instead of having a real conversation. So what other common fallacies should we be on the lookout for?
Well, another one that comes up all the time is the appeal to popularity fallacy, where we assume something's true because lots of people believe it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The everybody's doing it, so it must be okay argument. It's like peer pressure, but for ideas.
Exactly. Critical thinkers are able to recognize these fallacies and a lot of others, and that helps them avoid being swayed by, bad reasoning or emotional appeals. Now, the sources also talked a lot about the power of logic as kind of the foundation for critical thinking.
Okay, logic. I'll admit, I always struggled with those logic puzzles. Can you, break down those key concepts in a way that even I can understand?
Absolutely. We can start with deductive reasoning, where you draw specific conclusions from general principles. It's like that classic syllogism, all humans are mortal, Socrates is a human, therefore Socrates is mortal.
Okay, yeah, I get that. You start with a broad statement and apply it to a specific case. Deductive reasoning is really powerful if those general principles are true. But if they're not, then it can lead to the wrong conclusions.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be critical of the starting point as well as the ending point. Now, the other type of reasoning is inductive reasoning, and that's where you form general conclusions based on specific observations.
Oh, yeah, like that swan example. Every swan I've seen is white, therefore all swans are white. But of course, we know there are black swans out there that can disprove that.
Exactly. So inductive reasoning, it's about probabilities, not absolute certainty. It's really important for scientific discovery and coming up with hypotheses, but you also have to recognize that it has its limits.
So it's about being careful about overgeneralizing based on a small sample size, right? And always being open to new evidence that might challenge our current beliefs.
Exactly. And we have to be open to the possibility that new information could change what we think we know.
This has been so insightful. We've covered so much ground, like why critical thinking matters, specific techniques, and even some of those tricky mental traps to watch out for. What else is coming up on this deep dive into critical thinking?
And, it leads to a really crucial question, especially today when there's so much information out there. How do we actually know what to trust?
Yeah, it feels like everybody's got an opinion, an agenda, a spin on everything these days. So how do we cut through all of that noise and figure out what's actually true?
Well, one of the sources had this really cool approach, and it starts with, understanding what matters to you. What are your values? And how do they connect to the issue you're looking at? What are your priorities?
So before you even start looking at all of the information out there, you need to kind of figure out your own internal compass. What's your perspective?
Exactly. Once you got that figured out, then you can start gathering facts. And facts are those pieces of information that can actually be verified. Things that you can actually prove through observation or experience or solid evidence.
Okay, so we're not talking about opinions or beliefs. We're looking for those rock-solid, evidence-based pieces of information, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that means being really careful about where we're getting that information from, because not all sources are created equal.
That's for sure. Just because something pops up on my social media feed or it has a catchy headline doesn't mean it's accurate or reliable.
You know, one of the guides had some really practical tips on how to figure out if a source is good or not. Like, look for transparency. Are they upfront about where their information comes from? And what about their funding? Who's paying for this information to be out there?
So if I see a study about the amazing health benefits of some new superfood, and it turns out it's funded by the company that sells that superfood, maybe I should be a little skeptical, right?
Exactly. You always have to think about those biases and potential conflicts of interest. What about those sources that just make these big claims without any sources of their own? Have you ever seen those?
Oh, those drive me crazy. It's like they're just making stuff up as they go along.
A really credible source, they're going to be able to back up their claims with evidence, and they're going to tell you where they got that information. References, footnotes, citations, all of that. So you can go and check it out for yourself.
It's like a research paper. You got to show your work, you know? You can't just make stuff up.
That's a great analogy. Okay, so let's say we've done our homework. We've gathered all of these facts from reliable sources. Now what?
Well, now we've got to make sense of those facts, right? Analyze them, see what conclusions we can draw. But how do we know if our logic is sound? I don't want to fall into any of those thinking errors that we talked about earlier.
That's where being aware of those fallacies comes in handy. And it can help to have a kind of structure for analyzing information. One of the sources actually suggested using a series of questions to guide you through the process.
Ooh, I like that. Having a framework can definitely help keep your thinking on track. What kind of questions are we talking about here?
Well, first, you got to think about what those facts are telling you, right? What are they saying in relation to your values and priorities? What new insights have you gained about this issue? And what inferences can you logically make based on that evidence?
Inferences. Okay, so we're not just repeating the facts, we're going a step further and drawing our own conclusions based on those facts.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to be able to explain those inferences, to really articulate them clearly and then back them up with the evidence that you found. Now, one of the textbooks made a really interesting point about this whole critical thinking thing. They said that it's not about finding one single right answer. It's about recognizing that there are often multiple perspectives and that our own understanding can evolve over time as we get more information.
So it's not about clinging to our initial opinions no matter what. It's about being flexible, being willing to adjust our thinking as we learn and grow, right?
Exactly. It's a process. It's dynamic. It's not static. You have to be intellectually nimble, and you have to be open to new insights.
I like that. That takes some of the pressure off. It's not about having all the answers right away. It's about enjoying that journey of learning and discovery.
Totally. Now, one of the guides had a couple of other strategies to sharpen those critical thinking skills. Do you want to hear about those?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all about honing those mental tools.
One of the things they talked about was paying closer attention to our own thought processes. Like, how are we thinking about this, They pointed out that our brains love to take shortcuts, relying on assumptions and biases to make quick judgments.
Oh, yeah, those mental shortcuts can be super efficient, but also really dangerous, right? Especially when they lead to the wrong conclusion.
Exactly. So we need to be aware of those shortcuts that our brains are taking and question whether those shortcuts are actually helpful, whether they're leading us to the right conclusions.
It's like being aware of your blind spots when you're driving. You might not see that car next to you unless you intentionally check your mirror.
Yes, that's a great analogy. Another thing they talked about was reversing things.
Reversing things. Do I need to start reading these books upside down or something?
Not quite. It's more about shifting your perspective, looking at the issue from the opposite angle. So let's say you're trying to solve a problem. Try thinking about what would happen if you did the opposite of what you're currently doing.
So if I'm struggling to write this podcast script, maybe I should step away from the computer for a little bit and go for a walk instead of just staring at the screen.
Exactly. Sometimes stepping away from the problem is actually the best way to solve it.
That's a good reminder. I definitely have a tendency to get stuck in those mental ruts. What other strategies did they mention?
One that's super important, especially these days with so much misinformation out there, is really evaluating the evidence that you find. Don't just accept the first study or article that pops up as the truth. Look for multiple sources, see if their findings are consistent, and consider how they gathered that information.
So it's like that old saying, consider the source, right? We need to be discerning consumers of information.
Absolutely. The guide even suggests asking yourself some key questions when you're looking at evidence. Who collected this? How did they collect it? And why did they collect it?
Those are great questions, getting to the heart of any potential biases that might be influencing that research.
You got it. And then finally, maybe most importantly, think for yourself.
Well, isn't that what we're doing all the time?
You'd think so. But it's actually really easy to fall into the trap of just relying on what the experts say or what an authority figure tells us without really examining their claims or coming to our own conclusions.
So we have to develop that intellectual independence, that ability to question those assumptions and evaluate that evidence for ourselves, even when it's coming from someone we respect.
Exactly. It's about having that confidence to form your own judgment, even when it's different from what everyone else is saying. Now, the source also acknowledges that nobody can think critically all the time. We can't be in, like, hyper-analytical mode 24/7.
That's a relief to hear.
Yeah.
I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed by all of this. Am I supposed to be like dissecting every thought and decision that I make all day long?
That wouldn't be very practical, right? The key is to recognize when it's most important. Like when you're facing a really complex problem or you're looking at some important information or you're making a big decision.
So it's about having those critical thinking skills ready to go in our mental toolbox, and knowing when to pull them out and put them to work.
Yes. Exactly. And it's also important to be kind to ourselves when we mess up, when we slip into those thinking errors, right? We're all human.
We're all works in progress, right? The more we practice, the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. And one of the texts really highlighted this interesting connection between critical thinking and psychology.
Okay, that piqued my curiosity. How do psychologists use critical thinking in their work?
Well, they talked about how psychology students are trained to think critically about research and theories and human behavior. It's not just about memorizing stuff. It's about understanding how that knowledge was created and then evaluating that research and forming your own conclusions about it.
So they're using those scientific principles to understand those really complex things about the human mind, right?
Exactly. And the text even gives these specific examples about how this plays out in psychology classes.
Ooh. Give me some examples. What kinds of things are these psychology students doing?
Well, in those intro courses, they might be learning about the scientific method, and then they have to actually practice identifying each of those steps in published research.
So they're like breaking down the process and figuring out how that study was done so they can decide if it's valid, if it's reliable.
Exactly. And in more advanced classes, they might have to evaluate the quality of the research design or even critique the conclusions that were drawn from the study.
So they're not just taking the researcher's word for it, they're really engaging with that material and forming their own judgments.
You got it. The text even mentioned that sometimes professors will intentionally give students research designs that have flaws in them so they can really hone those skills.
That's a really cool way to learn. It's like giving them a puzzle, figuring out where the research went wrong and how it could be better.
Exactly. And then, at those highest levels of education, they might even have to design their own research studies.
Wow. So they go from analyzing research to creating their own.
Yeah.
Using those critical thinking skills to figure out their hypothesis, design those experiments, interpret the data, the whole thing.
Exactly. And they emphasize that those skills aren't just important for, being successful in school, but they're also essential if you're going to take those psychological principles and apply them to real-world situations.
That makes total sense. Psychology is all about understanding people and how they behave, and critical thinking gives us the tools to make sense of that behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we come to a really interesting part in one of the guides that focuses on the obstacles to creative thinking.
Obstacles to creative thinking. I thought we were talking about critical thinking.
Well, the guide made this point that those two things are actually really connected. You need critical thinking to evaluate ideas and make good judgments, but you need creative thinking to come up with those ideas in the first place.
So we're talking about those things that can block our ability to have those aha moments, to come up with those new solutions and fresh perspectives, right?
Exactly. And the guide actually identified a bunch of key obstacles that can hold us back. One of the biggest ones is a lack of direction.
So we need to have a sense of purpose, a goal in mind, before we can even tap into that creative potential.
Yeah, they emphasized how important it is to set specific goals and objectives. If you don't have a clear destination, you can end up just wandering aimlessly.
It's like trying to write a novel without a plot, or paint a masterpiece without a vision. You need that guiding principle, that North Star, to lead you in the right direction.
Another big one is the fear of failure. So many people are terrified of being wrong or making mistakes that they hold themselves back from trying anything new.
It's that inner critic, that voice that says, don't even try, you're just going to mess it up. It can be so hard to overcome that.
Yeah, it can be paralyzing. It keeps us from even trying to be creative.
So how do we overcome that fear? How do we give ourselves permission to experiment and play and potentially make some mistakes along the way?
Well, the guide suggests that confidence is a big part of it. The more you practice those critical thinking skills, the more comfortable you become with making judgments and evaluating information. And that leads to less fear of being wrong.
So it's this kind of cyclical process, right? Critical thinking helps us overcome that fear of failure, and then overcoming that fear gives us more freedom to be creative.
Exactly. Now, another obstacle they mentioned was the fear of rejection.
So it's not just the fear of failing ourselves, it's the fear of what other people will think of our ideas.
Yes. We worry about being laughed at, criticized, dismissed. And that can be even stronger when our ideas are really different or challenge the way things are usually done.
It can be so scary to put your creative work out there and know that not everyone's going to like it.
It takes courage. The guide suggested maybe shifting our focus from, the outcome to the process. So instead of worrying about whether people are going to praise or criticize, you can just focus on the joy of exploring and expressing yourself authentically.
I love that. Sometimes we get so caught up in what other people think that we forget about just enjoying the process of creating. There's a joy in that, a fulfillment that comes from just making something new.
Beautifully said. Now, another obstacle they talked about was mental laziness.
Mental laziness, what's that?
It's about getting stuck in routines, not challenging yourself intellectually.
So like doing the same things day after day, reading the same kinds of books, watching the same TV shows, talking to the same people. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When we don't go out and look for new information, new perspectives, our thinking gets stale.
It's like our brains need a workout, just like our bodies.
Yeah,
We have to challenge ourselves to think differently and stretch those mental muscles.
you got it. And that can be as simple as trying a new hobby or reading a book outside of your usual genre or having a conversation with someone who has really different opinions than you do.
Those are great suggestions. It's all about breaking out of those comfort zones and finding those opportunities to grow. What other obstacles did the guide talk about?
Well, one that really resonated with me was rationalization.
Rationalization, like making excuses. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. They were saying that we're really good at coming up with quick explanations for why we did or didn't do something, but those explanations aren't always honest or accurate.
So we're justifying our actions without really examining those motivations or thought processes.
Exactly. And they said this can actually be a major obstacle to creative thinking.
It makes sense. If we're always making excuses for ourselves, we're not really open to learning from those mistakes or exploring new possibilities.
Right. They suggested that we need to be more mindful about when we're doing this and ask ourselves, am I being honest with myself here? About my motivations and the choices that I'm making.
So it's about taking responsibility and being willing to learn and grow from our experiences, even those uncomfortable ones.
Yes. That's it, exactly. Now let's go back to logic for a minute. It's really important for critical thinking. Do you remember those different types of reasoning that we talked about?
Vaguely. Give me a quick refresher.
Sure. One type was deductive reasoning, where you're drawing specific conclusions from general principles, like that classic example. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal.
Right. You start with a broad statement and apply it to a specific case. Deductive reasoning is really powerful when those general principles are true. But if they're flawed, it can lead you to the wrong conclusions.
Exactly. You got to be critical of both the starting point and the ending point. Now, the other type is inductive reasoning. That's where you're forming a general conclusion from specific observations.
Oh yeah, like the swan example. Every swan I've seen is white, therefore all swans are white. But as we know, there are black swans out there that can disprove our conclusion.
Precisely. Inductive reasoning is about probability, not absolute certainty. It's great for scientific discovery, but we have to be careful about its limits.
So don't overgeneralize based on just a few observations, and always be open to new evidence that might change our understanding.
Exactly. Now, one source actually went into a specific type of reasoning called scientific reasoning.
Scientific reasoning, okay. I'm guessing it has something to do with the scientific method, that whole process that scientists use to investigate the world and draw conclusions.
You got it. And this source explained that process. It's called the scientific method. It starts with a question, something specific that you want to figure out.
So like, why do some people develop phobias and other people don't? Would that be an example?
Perfect example. And then, based on what you already know, your observations, you come up with a hypothesis, right? Which is like a tentative explanation for that phenomenon.
So hypothesis is an educated guess, a possible answer to the question that we're asking.
That's a great way to put it. And then you actually design and conduct an experiment, or you gather data to test that hypothesis.
So if we're thinking that maybe early childhood experiences play a role in developing a phobia, we might compare the childhoods of people with phobias to people without phobias, right?
Exactly. And the key is that you have to be really careful about how you design those experiments and how you collect that data. So you make sure you avoid those biases and the results are reliable.
So it's not just about collecting any old data, it's about collecting good quality data.
Right. And once you have that data, you analyze it to see if it supports or refutes your hypothesis.
So if we found that in our study, people with phobias were more likely to have experienced a traumatic event in childhood, that would support our hypothesis.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really important to remember that even if we find strong evidence, it doesn't necessarily prove the hypothesis. It just gives us more support for it.
Because there could be other factors involved that we didn't think about or weren't able to measure in our study.
Precisely. And that's why scientific reasoning, it's this ongoing process. We're always gathering new information, we're always refining our hypotheses, and we're always trying to get a better understanding of the world.
So it's not about finding that one right answer and being done with it. It's about continuing to question, experiment, and learn.
You got it. And that's what critical thinking is all about. Now, one of the texts pointed out this interesting challenge that psychology students often face when they're learning to think critically.
Okay, what kinds of challenges are we talking about?
They said a lot of psychology students come into college with preconceived notions about the field, A lot of that comes from pop psychology, things they've seen in movies and TV shows, self-help books, stuff like that.
So they might have those really simplified explanations for human behavior that sound good at first, but don't really hold up when you look at them more closely.
Exactly. And they said a big part of becoming a critical thinker in psychology is challenging those assumptions and learning to think about human behavior in a more nuanced and evidence-based way.
So it's about separating fact from fiction, recognizing that the human mind is way more complex than those simple explanations we often hear.
Exactly. And they talked about how different levels of psychology courses actually help cultivate those critical thinking skills.
I'm really curious to hear more about that. How does the level of the course affect the kind of work that they're doing?
Well, in those introductory courses, they might be asked to, take those basic psychological concepts and apply them to real-world scenarios.
So, like, if they're learning about different types of learning, they might have to explain how classical conditioning could be used to train a dog.
Yeah.
Or to help someone overcome a fear.
Exactly. It's all about taking those theoretical concepts and seeing how they actually work in everyday life.
And what about in the higher level courses? What kinds of things are they doing?
Well, in those courses, they might be given really complex case studies, and then they have to analyze them from different theoretical perspectives.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. So, if they're learning about personality theories, they might get a case study about someone with borderline personality disorder, and then they have to try to explain their behavior through those different lenses.
You got it. And the challenge is that there might not be one right answer, right? Different theories might offer different explanations, and it's up to the student to weigh the evidence and come to their own conclusions.
That sounds like such a cool way to learn. It's like putting a puzzle together. You're trying to figure out which pieces fit to get a full picture of that person.
Exactly. And as students go even further, they might be asked to actually evaluate different theories, figure out what are the strengths and weaknesses of each, or even propose their own theories based on their own research.
Wow. So they go from applying those existing theories to creating new knowledge. That's amazing.
It is. And that level of thinking is absolutely essential if we want to keep learning more about the human mind and come up with effective ways to deal with those psychological challenges.
This is all so fascinating. I'm really seeing how much critical thinking is at the core of psychology. It's not just a skill, it's a way of approaching the world.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Now, all this talk about psychology brings up an interesting question. Who do we actually trust when it comes to getting information about psychology or any other field for that matter?
That's a great point,
Right.
Especially with so much information and misinformation online and in the media. How do we know who's credible and who's not?
One of the sources had some really good advice. They said to start by considering the source's credentials and their expertise.
So look at their qualifications, their training, their experience, right? Are they actually an expert?
Exactly. And don't just look at degrees and titles, look for proof. Have they published research, presented at conferences? Are they respected by other experts in their field?
So look for signs that their work has been vetted. that it meets those standards of quality and accuracy.
You got it. Another important thing to consider is transparency and objectivity. Are they upfront about their biases and any potential conflicts of interest?
So, for example, if a psychologist is recommending a certain type of therapy, do they tell you if they have any financial ties to that therapy or the company that provides it?
Exactly. You want to be really careful with those sources that seem to have a hidden agenda or are really pushy about their own products or services.
It's like that saying, follow the money. Sometimes that tells you a lot about whether you should trust the information.
Right. And finally, maybe most importantly, look for evidence-based information. Are their claims supported by research, data, credible sources? The real deal.
So we're not looking for opinions or anecdotes. We want those solid facts that can hold up under scrutiny.
Exactly. And when you're looking at research, look for those studies that have been published in reputable, peer-reviewed journals. They have really strict processes to make sure the research is high quality.
So we're looking for those gold standard studies that have been checked by other experts?
Yes. Now, one of the texts actually explored this really cool connection between critical thinking, facts, and logic.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Tell me more.
They said that once we've gotten our facts from those good sources, the next step is to analyze them, see what they tell us.
Okay, so we're not just passively absorbing those facts, we're actively engaging with them, trying to figure out what they mean.
Exactly. And this process, it often involves making assumptions or inferences.
Assumptions can be tricky, can't they? Aren't they often based on biases or incomplete information?
You're right. Assumptions can lead you down the wrong path if you're not careful. But this text made this important distinction between, a reasonable inference that's based on the evidence and then those unfounded assumptions that don't have any real support.
So if we've gathered lots of evidence suggesting that a company has a history of unethical behavior, it might be reasonable to infer that they're probably not operating ethically now, right?
Exactly. But if we just assume all corporations are evil without any real evidence, well, that's just an unfounded assumption, a sweeping generalization that isn't based on reality.
Okay, that's a helpful distinction. So it's about using our critical thinking skills to decide which inferences are logical and which ones are just leaps of faith.
Precisely. And one of the guides actually had some interesting exercises to help us develop and strengthen those muscles.
Oh, I'm always up for a good brain workout. Tell me more about those.
Well, one was all about challenging your assumptions and seeing things from a fresh perspective.
Okay, that sounds cool. How does it work?
Imagine that you're an alien tour guide. You're showing a group of extraterrestrial visitors around Earth.
So they have no idea about human culture, customs, behaviors, any of it. They're seeing everything for the first time.
Exactly. And imagine you're taking them to a shopping mall.
Oh, that's perfect. There's so much to unpack there. All that consumerism, the social interactions, just the sheer amount of stuff.
I know, right? So the exercise is to think about how you would answer their questions, like, what's a store? Why do people buy things they don't need? What are those flashing screens and jingles all about?
Yeah, that's such a cool idea. You'd have to really think about all those assumptions that we make about something as simple as a shopping mall. We just take so much for granted.
Exactly. By trying to explain it to someone who has no preconceived notions, you have to look at your own biases and articulate your reasoning.
It's like that question, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? It makes you think about how we perceive things.
Yes, exactly. And that's what these exercises are all about. They help us step outside of those boxes we put ourselves in.
I love that. It's all about expanding our awareness. So what other critical thinking exercises do they offer?
Well, another one focused on telling the difference between facts and opinions.
That's a skill that we can never practice too much.
Yeah.
Especially these days when there's so much information and misinformation out there.
For sure. So in this exercise, they give you a bunch of statements, and you have to decide if it's a fact or an opinion.
So the earth is round would be a fact, while pizza's the best food would be an opinion.
Exactly. But they also give you some trickier statements that sound like facts but are actually based on assumptions or biases.
So it's about learning to recognize those subtle clues that can help us figure out what's really true and what's just someone's opinion.
Yes, you got it. And when you practice this, you get better at really evaluating information and separating those facts from opinions.
It's like training our mental filters to weed out all the noise and get to the signal. Separate the truth from the BS.
That's a great analogy. Now, one of the texts went into detail about the specific skills you need for good critical thinking.
Okay, let's hear about it. What are the secrets of those critical thinkers?
Well, one of the most important ones is the ability to link ideas together.
Linking ideas. So like seeing those connections between things that seem unrelated.
Exactly. Critical thinkers are able to spot those patterns and recognize those relationships and synthesize information from different places.
It's like they're putting together a giant jigsaw puzzle, finding those unexpected connections to see the bigger picture.
I love that. Another important skill is the ability to actually structure arguments.
So it's not just throwing out random ideas. It's about organizing them logically to support our conclusions, right?
Yeah.
Like a lawyer presenting a case to a jury.
Yes, exactly. Critical thinkers know how to present their ideas in a way that's clear, concise, and persuasive. They know how to build a strong case.
It's like they're master debaters, crafting arguments that are both smart and engaging.
Exactly. And finally, they're really good at recognizing incongruences.
Incongruences. So like those inconsistencies or gaps in logic, those places where an argument just doesn't quite hold up.
Yes. Critical thinkers can spot those flaws in the reasoning. They can see where the evidence doesn't quite add up.
They're like detectives looking for clues, or code breakers searching for those hidden patterns.
I love that. And the text actually has specific exercises to help us develop each of these skills. Ready for another brain workout?
Bring it on. I'm ready for the challenge.
So to practice linking ideas, they suggest a brainstorming activity.
Brainstorming. I'm all for that. It's a great way to get those creative juices flowing.
Exactly. So in this exercise, they give you a problem or a challenge, and you have to come up with as many ideas as you can to solve it.
So quantity over quality here. Just getting all those ideas out there, no judgment.
You got it. And once you've got a bunch of ideas, then you can start looking for those connections between them. See if any of them can be combined or tweaked to create something new.
It's like we're weaving a tapestry of ideas, seeing how they connect.
That's a great way to put it. Now, to practice structuring arguments, they suggest an exercise called challenging the premise.
Challenging the premise.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking at the underlying assumptions of an argument, the foundational beliefs that often just get taken for granted.
Exactly. So you're given a bunch of arguments, and then you have to figure out what are the premises that are supporting each conclusion.
So we're breaking it down into its parts, like a mechanic taking apart an engine.
Exactly. And then you evaluate those premises. Are they logically sound? Do they actually lead to the conclusion?
So we're looking for flaws in the reasoning, those places where the argument breaks down.
You got it. And by practicing this, we get better at spotting those logical fallacies and building strong arguments of our own.
It's like we're building our own mental defenses, right?
Yeah,
Protecting ourselves from those sneaky arguments.
that's a great way to put it. Now, for recognizing incongruences, they suggest an exercise that uses data analysis.
Ooh, okay. Putting on our detective hats and looking for those little inconsistencies and contradictions.
Exactly. So they might give you a bunch of data from a research study or a survey, and you have to look for patterns and trends.
So we're looking for anything that seems out of place, that
Yeah.
doesn't fit, or maybe suggests we need to look a little deeper.
Precisely. And when you do this exercise, you get better at spotting those subtle things that can sometimes lead to some really big discoveries.
So we're training our brains to be more sensitive to those little details that might actually reveal a deeper truth.
Exactly. Now, one of the texts emphasizes that critical thinking isn't just about, having knowledge or mastering certain skills. It's also about developing certain habits of mind, those intellectual virtues that make us better thinkers.
Okay, so we're talking about those personality traits or character strengths that support critical thinking.
Precisely. And they identified several key characteristics of a critical thinker. Ready to dive into those?
Absolutely. I'm all ears. What are those qualities that make a critical thinker stand out?
Well, one of the most important ones is intellectual humility.
Intellectual humility. Okay. So that's about recognizing that we don't have all the answers. We could be wrong. And there's always something new to learn.
Exactly. Critical thinkers are open to new information and willing to change their minds when they see strong evidence. They're not afraid to say, I don't know, or admit they made a mistake.
So they're not obsessed with always being right. They see learning as a journey and don't let their ego get in the way.
Exactly. They value the truth more than their ego. They're ready to change their beliefs when they see new evidence or a new perspective.
That's a really important quality, especially these days when it seems like everyone is so dug into their own beliefs.
You're right. Another key trait is intellectual courage.
Intellectual courage. That sounds interesting. So is it about having the guts to stand up for your beliefs even when they're unpopular?
That's part of it, yeah. But it's also about having the courage to question your own beliefs, to really look at those uncomfortable truths and be willing to consider perspectives that are different from your own.
So it's not just about defending your own ideas, but being open to those ideas that might challenge your worldview.
Exactly. Critical thinkers are willing to follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it's outside their comfort zone or makes them rethink what they've always believed.
That takes a lot of strength. It's so much easier to just stick with what you're familiar with, even if it might not be totally accurate.
It is. Now, another really important one is intellectual empathy.
Intellectual empathy, I like that.
Oh.
So it's about understanding other people's perspectives, even when they're completely different from our own.
Exactly. Critical thinkers can put themselves in other people's shoes, see the world through their eyes, understand how their experiences and beliefs have shaped their thinking.
That's crucial, especially when we're trying to have those tough conversations across those divides that seem to be everywhere these days.
You're right. Critical thinkers get that there are often multiple valid perspectives on an issue, and they recognize that understanding those perspectives can help them too.
It's about expanding our understanding and seeing the world in all of its complexity.
Exactly. Another key trait is intellectual integrity.
Intellectual integrity, now that's something we could all use a little more of. So it's about being honest with ourselves and others about what we really know.
Exactly. Critical thinkers are committed to the truth, and they're willing to acknowledge their own biases and limitations. They're not trying to manipulate anyone.
They're humble, they're honest, and they're always trying to learn.
That's a great way to put it. And then there's intellectual perseverance.
Okay, intellectual perseverance, I'm sensing a theme here.
Oh.
So it's about sticking with it, not giving up easily when things get tough.
You got it. They're willing to put in the effort to really grapple with those complex issues. They don't shy away from the tough questions.
They see those challenges as opportunities to grow.
Exactly. And another vital trait is intellectual fair-mindedness.
Intellectual fair-mindedness, that's a good one. So it's about being open-minded and treating all viewpoints with respect, even if we don't agree with them.
Precisely. Critical thinkers try to be objective and impartial when they're evaluating something, even when those ideas are challenging their own beliefs.
So they're not just looking for evidence that supports what they already think. They're actively searching for those alternative perspectives and trying to really understand them, even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. They're committed to looking at all of the evidence, even if it might lead them to a conclusion they don't like.
That's a really powerful way to live. It's about being comfortable with complexity, recognizing there aren't always easy answers to tough questions.
Oh, well said. And that actually brings us to another really interesting aspect of this, the role of confidence in critical thinking.
Confidence. Okay, that's an interesting one. So it's about believing in your own ability to think critically and make good judgments, even when they might not be popular.
Exactly. One of the texts really emphasized this. Confidence is so important for critical thinking. If we don't believe in ourselves, we're more likely to doubt our conclusions, second-guess ourselves, or just give up when things get hard.
It makes sense. If you're not confident, it's easier to be influenced by other people or just avoid those tough conversations altogether.
You got it. And they explain that this confidence, it comes from practice and experience. The more we do it, the more comfortable and confident we become.
It's like anything else. The more you practice a skill, the better you get at it and the more confidence you have.
Absolutely. And as that confidence grows, we're more likely to embrace those challenges and really trust our own instincts.
It's a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. Now, one of the sources also had some good advice about overcoming those obstacles that we talked about earlier. Those fears and biases and mental shortcuts that can trip us up.
Okay, let's talk about solutions. What are some things we can do to avoid those pitfalls?
Well, one of the most important things is to develop self-awareness.
Self-awareness. So paying attention to our own thoughts and feelings and biases and recognizing those patterns that might be distorting our thinking.
You got it. The more aware we are of our own minds, the better equipped we are to deal with those biases.
It's like shining a light on those unconscious processes so we can really see them and examine them.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Another important strategy is to look for diverse perspectives.
So talk to people who think differently than we do, read things that challenge our assumptions, expose ourselves to new ideas and experiences.
Exactly. The more we do that, the more we broaden our horizons and avoid getting stuck in those echo chambers.
It's like shaking up our own little world and seeing things from all those different angles.
Another key strategy is to practice active listening.
Active listening, so that's more than just, hearing words, right? It's about really trying to understand what that other person is saying.
Exactly. It helps us get out of our own heads and really engage with another person's perspective.
It's about recognizing that other people have valuable things to say, even if we don't agree with them.
Absolutely. And then finally, maybe the most important thing is to question everything.
Question everything. Wow, that's a big one. So not just accepting things at face value, but digging deeper, demanding evidence, being skeptical.
You got it. That's what critical thinking is all about. Asking those tough questions to get to the heart of the matter.
We're like those detectives, right? Always looking for clues, following the evidence.
I love that. And one of the texts actually had this really transformative idea about developing critical thinking skills. They suggested that it's not just about acquiring knowledge or techniques, it's about going through a personal transformation.
Personal transformation.
Mm-hmm.
That takes it to a whole new level. So critical thinking can actually change who we are, how we see the world.
Exactly. The text argued that as we build those skills, we become more self-aware, more open-minded, more humble. We become better people.
Wow, that's powerful. It's about becoming a different kind of thinker, a different kind of person.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it brings us to a really important point. Critical thinking is a journey, not a destination.
So it's not about reaching some level of perfection and being done. It's a process of continuous learning and growth.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
It's about constantly unlocking new levels of understanding.
Absolutely. As we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to think about.
A question to spark some more reflection and maybe inspire some action.
Knowing the obstacles to critical thinking and those qualities of a critical thinker, what are some things you can do this week to start honing those skills? What challenges do you think you'll face, and how can you prepare to deal with them?
Those are great questions. It's about taking what we've learned from these sources and actually putting it into practice in our own lives.
Remember, critical thinking isn't just some theory. It's a powerful tool that can help you make better decisions, navigate this crazy world, and live a more meaningful life.
It's about unlocking that inner genius and becoming the best thinker you can be. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more explorations.